African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of August 14, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, 2 airborne assault, a Ranger Brigade, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Boyarolazachi, Korchakavka, Kainitsa, Krapovshchina, Vakilovshchina, Unikavka, Prshi-Travnya, Varakino, and Andriivka in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of a mechanized brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Volchansk, Ambarno, and Sinelnikovo in the Kharkiv region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 155 servicemen, 2 tanks, an armored combat vehicle, 9 vehicles, 7 field artillery guns, including 2 NATO-made, 2 electronic warfare stations, and an ammunition depot. Units of the West Troop Group took more advantageous lines and positions, inflicted damage on formations of a tank, 2 mechanized, and an assault brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Senkovo, Gleshkovka, Novosergivka, Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, Kirovsk and Kaladizi in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to up to 225 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, and 8 vehicles. 8 electronic warfare stations and 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group decisively liberated the settlement of Sherbanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 5 mechanized, mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Minkavka, Fedorovka, Vasyokavka, Chervono, Nikiforovka, Berstok, Svanovka, Novodmitrovka, and Stepanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost over 265 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 5 vehicles, 3 field artillery guns, including a 155mm M777 howitzer produced in the USA, and 2 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Center Troop Group continued advancing deep into the enemy's defense. They inflicted damage on formations of 4 mechanized, Ranger, assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements Novonikolivka, Shevchenko, Dimitrov, Novoalexandrovka, Krasny Lyman, Udakno, Rodinsko, and Krasnoarmysk in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to over 355 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, including the Turkish-made Kirpi armored car, 8 pickups, 5 field artillery guns, and an N/TPQ-37 counter-battery radar station produced in the USA. Units of the East Troop Group actively liberated the settlement of Iskra in the Donetsk People's Republic. Damage inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Poltavka, Zeleny High, Koltern in Zaporizhia region, Voron in Dnipropetrovsk region, and Alexandrid in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 230 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, 8 cars, and 2 artillery guns, including a 155mm M198 howitzer produced in the USA. 2 electronic warfare stations were destroyed. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on formations of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, 2 brigades of coastal defense of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 3 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Kamyansk, Chervonokranitsia, Stepovo in Zaporizhia region, Tokarevka, Antonivka, and Kamyshany in Kherson region. More than 85 Ukrainian servicemen, 10 vehicles, a 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Bogdana, A 155mm M777 howitzer produced in the USA, 7 electronic warfare stations, and an Israeli-made radar station were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces troop groups inflicted damage on drone storage sites, ammunition depots, temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 147 areas. Air defense means shot down 4 guided aerial bombs and 268 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 665 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 77,184 unmanned aerial vehicles, 625 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,572 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,585 multiple launch rocket systems, 28,500 field artillery guns and mortars, 39,648 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.